Students, today we are going to start with Chapter 7 Interdependence in Living Beings, Plants and Animals. After listening to the lesson name, the first question that arises in our mind is what does the word interdependence means? The word interdependence means the dependence of two or more people or things on each other. Now, students, what do you see on the screen? Yes, it is an incomplete picture of a lion. So, we need to complete this picture by adding the missing body parts of the lion. Yes, and in its proper place to complete this picture of a lion. And when we fix these body parts of the lion in its right place, we get the complete picture of the lion. Students, by the help of this example, I have tried to make you understand that what we all need, all the body parts of the living beings in its proper functioning and its proper place, as all the body parts depend on each other for the proper functioning of the body, whether it is animal body, plant body or our own body. Like for example, as we breathe from our nose, we take in oxygen, and by the help of the lungs, this oxygen gets circulated to all the body parts, and the carbon dioxide released gets collected in the lungs and we breathe it out. That is, we exhale it out. This whole process is known as respiration. Thus, this whole process shows the interdependence of various organs on each other in the process of respiration. Thus, students, we can assume nature as a body and plants and animals beings at its body part. As we depend on both plants and animals for our food, as we get the grains, vegetables, fruits from plants, meat and dairy products from animals in various forms. Now, let us talk about the interdependence of plants and animals. Students, do you know our nature is made up of living and non-living things? Both plants, animals, human beings and microorganisms form the living parts of the nature, and soil, rock, minerals, light, water form the non-living part of the nature. And we all depend on each other for our survival. Now we will talk about how plants and animals are interdependent on each other. Students, look at this. Yes, it is a picture of a sun. Sun, the main source of energy in nature. Yes, the second image is that of a tree. Students, trees and plants, although they are living beings, they are different from other living beings like animals and human beings. Now the question arises, why? Why they are different from other living beings? The plants are different from other living beings as they can make their own food. Now the second question arises, how? How are the plants able to make their own food? Let us see. Plants need energy for making their food, and this energy they get from the sunlight, and from the soil they get the water, and from animals they get the carbon dioxide. Students, in science, whenever we talk about animals, we mean to refer both human beings and animals. as in science, we refer to human beings as sophisticated animals. Now, let us see how animals provide carbon dioxide to plants. Remember, in the starting of this video, I have shown you how the respiratory system works and how during the respiratory process, we exhale out carbon dioxide, and this exhaled out carbon dioxide is used by the plants in making food. Students, this process by which plants make their food is done by a process known as photosynthesis. Now the question arises, what does the word photosynthesis means? The word photosynthesis actually is a compound word. It's made up of photo, which means light, and synthesis, which means to put together. A plant uses light to put together chemical compounds and turn them into carbohydrates, that is food, in the form of simple sugar or food. Thus, the main constituent of the process of photosynthesis are firstly the sunlight, second water, third carbon dioxide, and fourth the green pigment, which is also known as chlorophyll, which is present in the leaves. So, basically the leaves act as the kitchen or the food factories of plants, where the plants make their food. Similarly, as in our homes, our mother or our elders prepare food for us in the kitchen of our house. But in the case of plants, this process is known as photosynthesis. Thus, the plants are able to produce their own food, so they are called the producers. Now, the question arises, why they are called the producers? They are called the producers because they can make their own food. Students, as I have already mentioned in the starting of the video, that when we talk about animals, we are referring to both humans and animals in science. Now we will discuss how animals are dependent on plants. Like during the photosynthesis, plants give out the oxygen which is needed by the animals for their survival. Other than oxygen, plants also provide food which is required for our survival, as it completes the energy needs of an animal for its survival. Students, in the plants, energy is stored in the form of starch, which is used by animals. You can imagine that our life without plants and animals are completely dependent on plants for oxygen and food. This is how plants and animals are dependent on each other, and this dependency on each other of plants and animals is called the interdependency of plants and animals. Basically, we say animals get energy from plants, as animals are dependent on plants for food. That is why they are known as consumers, because animals cannot make their food for themselves. They take energy stored in plants as food, thus they consume, that is, they eat or drink, so they are the consumers. So they consume food from plants because they are unable to make their own food. I hope this complete circle is clear to you. about the interdependency of plants and animals. Now, plants are dependent on animals for carbon dioxide, which is very essential for plants in making their food by the means of photosynthesis. And animals are dependent on plants for oxygen and food for their survival. To make this point more clear, let us take an example. As sun being the main source of energy in nature, from sun plants take energy directly, and energy in plants stored in the form of starch or simple sugar, and this energy is transferred to animals. Now a question arises here that how so this energy gets transferred? The answer to this is that animals consume plant as food, and whenever they eat plant, they take that energy from plants. Now, it must have been clear to you that sun has given energy to plant, and from plant energy gets transferred to animals. Now, when animals die, what does the energy, where does the energy goes? To this question, the answer is that when the animals die, it gets decomposed and get mixed in the soil. But one thing we always have to remember, that the energy present in the animal body, which is taken or transferred from plant in animal's body, that energy remains in their body when they become dead. That means that energy is still there and it gets decomposed and get mixed in the soil, and the body decomposes and mixes in the soil, and together soil and the decomposed body form the humus. This means humus is decomposed matter of dead body and soil, which contains lot of energy and nutrients, which is again used by the plants. So a circle is formed, and this circle goes on like this. Thus, by the help of these examples, I believe that I have been able to clear your point regarding interdependency of plants and animals.